Dennis, thank you for that kind introduction. It's an honor and privilege to be here before you today. As many of you maybe saw in your initial schedules, I'm standing in for Richard Fisher, CEO for the Federal Reserve Bank in Dallas, and I'm obviously not a Federal Reserve banker. I thought about wearing a banker suit and pinstripes to get in character here, but that didn't work. And I had some more angst about coming before you here this morning, and not only standing in for a Federal Reserve banker, but yesterday I was here with all of you when this fellow came out of the crowd in a shirt that I think he slept in. Sleeves were rolled up, his shirt tails out, and he comes up and he says, "I'm a retailer." I had to keep reminding myself during that fine presentation that he was the Chief Executive Officer for Starbucks. So I also have to think, how do I address this group and what am I going to say? And how do I get this message across about warriorship? We're going to talk about warriorship and leadership today, and specifically the characters of a warrior and how does that apply to all of you, where you've come from, and what can you take away to make use of the principles of warriorship. In talking about the definition of a warrior, how does that apply to you? And I had to think, how am I going to bring this message to all of you? Well, I do a lot of my presentation work. I speak to three groups normally. The first is I speak to an awful lot of special operations people, Navy SEALs, Army Special Forces, Air Force Combat Control Teams, during their advanced training and during their pre-deployment training. They're getting ready to go to the fight. Our special operations warriors are trained in three areas. We call it the triangle. On one side is their physical capability. These guys have to be fit and have to be able to endure a great deal of hardship as they take their skills to battle. The other side of that triangle is the professional skill set. They have to be good at a whole bunch of military disciplines: communications, weapons, air operations, precision bombing, precision shooting. There's a whole parachuting. In the case of the Navy SEALs, diving. They take a big skill set to the battlefield. But underlying all that is the moral aspects of that. A warrior has to have a moral foundation to project his power. And that's important for a Navy SEAL. It's important for a corporate warrior. And it's important what goes on at this institution at the Naval Academy in training the future leaders of tomorrow. So I thought, well, do I give you the Navy SEAL presentation? And I thought, well, that may not be appropriate. And I thought, well, how about the midshipman presentation? I speak to senior midshipmen during their capstone course, and we talk about the moral underpinnings that they will need to be leaders in the Navy and Marine Corps. You heard Admiral Rimp kicked it off yesterday, and he says this institution here is to train midshipmen morally, mentally, and physically. And they take those skills forward to be leaders in the Navy and the Marine Corps. And I have the honor and privilege to come back here and address the midshipmen on those issues. And then the third variation of my presentation is for corporate warriors. And I don't know about you, but yesterday morning when I heard Jim Donnell, Ann Fisher, Brad Anderson, I got the feeling I was in the presence of warriors. These were serious warriors. These were true warriors in every sense of the word. So when I do a presentation for corporate warriors, I modify it a little bit. If it happens to be a retail group, then we talk about communications, warriorship and communications. If it happens to be let's say a finance group dealing in finance, we talk about trust, issues of trust. If it's a manufacturing group, we talk about teamwork and the importance of teamwork in a manufacturing situation. So what am I going to do here? So last night I got to thinking about this, how I was going to address this fine group here, because there's military officers, there's folks with government, and a lot of you come from the corporate world, but a very diverse corporate background. So I finally hit on it last night. Could I ask you all, please, just raise your right hand? Raise your right hand. Okay, you can put it down now. You're now all honorary members of the class of 2007. It's February 2007. I'm going to be talking to you about your future responsibilities, and pretty soon you're going to leave this warm womb called the Naval Academy, and you're going to go out and take up your duties as an ensign in the United States Navy or a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps. What does that entail? What's leadership and warriorship on that level? Let me tell you about some of the things you're going to be doing. You may be in an aviation squadron, and you're a maintenance officer. And you've got a first-class petty officer. He's 28 years old, kind of a handsome devil, got the morals of a goat. He's got 4 children by 2 ex-wives, and you just got a letter from an attorney about a paternity suit. But this guy can fix F-18 radars like Jim Donnell and Starbucks can make coffee. And those pilots need those radars, and you need this guy to fix them. You're going to deal with that. Could be you're in a Marine. You've got a platoon of Marines. You're getting ready to deploy. Got a lot of young Marines going over the first time. You've got an E4 sergeant who has had 2 rotations to Iraq, 1 rotation to Afghanistan. He's a marvelous teacher. He can teach these young guys. He can save a lot of young Marines' lives, help them learn the business. But when he walks out that gate at Camp Pendleton, you know there's a 50% chance that he's going to end up in the drunk tank, and you're going to have to go bail him out. But you need this guy to deploy with. That could be one of your problems. Or try this one. You come aboard your ship, you're engineering division officer, you walk into your spaces, your division yeoman sitting there, 19-year-old seaman, and she's sort of crying a little bit. Seaman Smith, what's the problem? It's okay, sir. I'll be all right. I'm fine. So you go over and see the chief. You say, Chief, what's going on with Seaman Smith? He says, well, sir, he says, got nothing to prove this, just my instinct here, but I think some of the male sailors have been making inappropriate and offensive remarks to Seaman Smith. This is your problem, too. Being a warrior in the military, it doesn't mean you're getting shot at all the time and what have you. It means solving problems day after day after day, and these are real problems. All of you in the class of 2007 are going to have to solve those problems. So what I'm going to try to do here today is talk about a few things, maybe give you a few tools that you can maybe remember something and better solve those problems. And I want you all out there, you midshipmen, to put your pencils down. Don't take notes. Just sit back and listen, relax, and think about these things in light of where you've come from in the last 4 years at the Naval Academy and where you're going when you become leaders. And instead of having plebes shining their shoes, you've got real sailors and Marines that you're responsible for. Let's talk about a few of these things. These are my definitions of a warrior. A warrior pursues excellence with a reckless passion. You got to know your stuff. You're all engineers. You all have good degrees. You're going to have. But your stock and trade is people. You've got to know your people, learn them, study them, know their family histories, know their strengths, weaknesses, and that's what you're going to have to learn, and you're going to have to learn that with a passion. A warrior will do whatever it takes to win or succeed. You've been here for 4 years, lots of competition, everything's competitive. You have to win. In the SEAL teams, we have a saying, there's no second place in a gunfight. Not that many gunfights out there, but there are challenges every day that you have to win, get an acceptable resolution. Somebody's got a problem. You don't want to finish your day without bringing some resolution and solving that problem. And finally, a warrior will never compromise his honor. You are the gold standard. You are the moral agent. Honor, courage, and commitment. It goes up the line. The people are counting on you above you to do your job. People below you are counting on you to look after them, look after their welfare so that the job can get done. So, and all of that revolves around your honor, and you have to work and protect your honor. Let's take a look at a couple of examples, and in keeping with the theme of this summit conference here, talk about a few stories. Be a teammate. If you can orchestrate a team environment, no matter what you're doing, you're going to be more successful. Before you can be a team leader, you need to be a teammate. They have to know that the welfare of the team is a priority with you. I learned this early on. I was making a SEAL deployment. I had a platoon. It was a relatively inexperienced platoon. This was quite a long time ago. We were going to Vietnam. We were definitely going in harm's way. I had a third-class petty officer, gunner's mate, solid guy. Good automatic weapons man. I thought, that's a guy I can count on. He's going to be on my team. Well, 3 weeks before we deployed, I came into the team area. Chief meets me and says, hey, boss, we got a problem. I said, what's that? And he says, Foley shot himself. I go, what? He said, yeah, Foley shot himself. So he told me the story. A couple of guys, even young, good Navy SEALs can do dumb things. They're out in the desert practicing, had their guns out there, and they're practicing quick draw, and Foley takes his gun out and puts a .38 round through his knee. Fortunately, it didn't have a .357 load in it, or it would have been the leg. So, okay. So I jump in the car. I run over to Balboa Hospital. Walking down the hall, see the doctor. He says, oh, yeah, Lieutenant, Foley's your man. I says, right. He says, oh, look, that kid is very, very lucky. We operated on him for several hours. We got him kind of put back together. It was very serious. But he's going to be all right. And I said, what do you mean all right, doctor? And he says, well, I think that he's going to be in the hospital here for another 3 or 4 weeks. Long convalescent period. He's going to probably going to have 6 to 9 months of full-on rehab. But I think there's a very good chance, and he seems like a very resilient kid, that he's going to walk without a limp. Okay. So I go in to see Foley. And, of course, he's beside himself. He says, oh, boss, I'm so sorry. How could we have been so dumb? I really feel bad about this. And I said, well, I hate not to have you, but, you know, you got to do what you got to do. And he said, what do you mean not have me? And I said, we're deploying in 3 weeks. And he said, I'm going. And I said, you know, the doctor, he says, the doctor doesn't know who we are and what we do. You let me deal with that. 1 week before we deploy, if I can't come over and do PT with the platoon, physical training, then you go without me. Okay. Week before we left, Foley comes hobbling down the grinder and does PT. I says, did you check out of the hospital? And he goes, no. I mean, what are they going to do? Send me to Vietnam? That's where we're going. We deployed. He was the guy that I always wanted on my team. He was there all the time. Came back, got his wife and his daughter, got out of the Navy, went back to Michigan, and he's still there. And he runs a car lot in Michigan.